Welcome to Figuring Out Homestead Life with Ginny and Allison.
Hi, Allison.
Hey, Ginny, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good.
What's been new with you this week?
I'm drinking kombucha.
Ooh. How
Actually,
is it?
it's yummy. Oh, I really so I made a lemon peel and ginger, and I really like it. I didn't think I would, but I really like it.
Okay. It's not too like strong medicinal.
No, it's not. Definitely. I thought it'd be like way too like pucker factor.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Cool.
I also made a strawberry mango ginger one, and it's not bad, but compared to the lemon ginger, it's like meh.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I also made some chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the kitchen stuff's always going. So
Yes.
oh, yep. I went and picked up 8 quarts of strawberries and successfully made some strawberry jam.
Wee.
Randy last night said it tasted like Smucker's.
He liked it. He taste tested it.
He liked it. So
Oh, good.
he's a Smucker's fan, and I don't like their ingredients. So he approved of this.
Good. Yeah, you probably could have just switched it in and he wouldn't have known.
Probably. He doesn't like sneaky things though.
Oh.
So. And he's going to listen to this. So there'll be no sneakiness in my house.
Uh-oh. I try to do that sometimes with Luke.
Yeah.
But he always likes it. So I'm like, see, if you had known, you wouldn't have tried it.
That's right. That's right. What have you been up to? Did you get your kombucha?
No, there's a whole to do. I had to put in a help. Because I bought it through Etsy. So now I have like a filed a complaint with Etsy, and I ordered another one from someone else and they've already shipped it. So hopefully I'll have that within 5 days or so. So
yes.
Confession. It will be in the works.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Oh, so yeah, I ordered a new one and it's already been shipped. So that should be in the works at some point in the near future.
Cool.
So yeah, I have that. What do we do? Oh, over the weekend we started building the chicken tractor. So that's been going good. We really just need to wrap it in wire and put the roof on, and then that's good to go. And add wheels. We're going to add 2 wheels in the back because it is quite heavy. When we were building it, Luke's like, well, no, we need more wood to support. I'm like, but it's getting heavier and heavier. So yeah, but the wheels I think will help. And then I've been baking some sourdough breads, which was nice. They came out pretty good. My ones last week were kind of but these ones came out nice. So I think my starter's like back to being very healthy. So
that's awesome.
I think that's about it for
so
fun stuff.
My confession is that I ordered my SCOBY off of Amazon.
Oh, okay. It's probably okay. Whatever.
It came quick. It arrived quickly.
Yeah.
And it's working. So it's healthy.
Right. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
I mean, half the time the stuff on Etsy is the same as the stuff on Amazon. So
that's true. Yeah. Yes. So mine technically it came from Texas. It came from a company in Texas.
Yeah. I think mine's coming from California. It's like Joshua Tree Ferments or something.
Okay.
And they shipped quick, so that's good.
Cool. So something else that's been going on here is we've put Claire the calf out with the Angus heifers. And she's nursing off of them. Oh. They don't have milk. I was going to say,
are they did they see her and start producing milk?
No, they've been letting her, which is weird to me. It's like, they're just naturally maternal.
Right.
Well, so I don't know if it's normal. I don't know if it's supposed to be happening.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cute though, because I did see one of your Instagrams and the one I think Ethel was like licking her and loving on her. I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
It is. It's super sweet. It's like, yeah. it's nice that they're kind to her, because
Yeah.
sometimes they can be really mean.
Right. Well, they're kind of young too still, right? So maybe, does that have something to do with it?
It could. They're both a little over a year old now. And they were raised with their moms out in the field until they were 5 and 6 months old. So maybe they just naturally got that instinct.
Right. Ah, little
Yeah,
cuties.
cows. Who knew? Yes. So the topic for the week
Yeah.
is,
So yeah, we're talking about gardening, which I'm excited to talk about.
yay.
I love gardening.
I do too. I do too. Growing things is fun.
Yes. So do you want to get started? Like, what do you want to talk about what our prior experience was before we landed where we're at now?
Absolutely. Sure. So I'll start. Does that
Yeah.
work? Okay. So I grew up as a city kid, mostly. For the most part, I grew up as a city kid. We would spend summers with our grandmother in southeastern New Mexico. And she had a garden. She had a vegetable garden and lots of fruit trees in her backyard, in her very not even suburbs. She lived in town, but she had this amazing garden and fruit trees and cactus plants. I'm not a fan of cactus. A little bit of childhood trauma there.
Did they eat?
What's that?
Did they eat the cactus? Because can't you eat certain kinds of cactus?
You can. Hers were purely decorative.
Okay.
And it's southwestern New Mexico, very dry, arid. They grow really well out there.
Yeah.
But she didn't eat them, no. So we grew up summers with our grandmother in her garden and picking fruit right off the trees and eating it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then about the time I was 9 years old, my parents bought a greenhouse, which was basically in New Mexico called hot houses. And they started off with hydroponic tomatoes. So from the time I was 9 until just about 16, we had greenhouses, and again, started off with tomatoes and then rolled into bedding plants. Mostly flowers, mostly decorative stuff at that point, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then skip to high school and then college, some college. We won't go there. And then I didn't get like really back into nutrition and healthy food until I joined the Coast Guard, and it became important to me. And then when it really became important to me is when the clock started ticking, and I'd had that itch to have a baby, and I started really seriously paying attention to what I was eating and making sure I was getting the nutritional value from my food. Yeah. So I've always loved gardening. It's great. And you?
So not too much experience. I think my mom might have had like a little garden here and there, not very consistently, as I was growing up. I know I've always lived in New England, so it's always just been like the stereotypical summer garden, grow some zucchini, maybe a couple tomatoes, a cucumber, something like easy stuff like that, but very small. When I was in my townhouse with Luke, before we moved to New Hampshire, he built me a really big, well, it seemed really big there, but it really wasn't in reality, but he built me a big raised bed. So I had that just like on top of pavement. So I was able to grow a few things and had herbs and pots and stuff like that. So when we moved to this house, this is really my first time having a large, which it's not even that large compared to, but a large garden that I'm able to grow, spring, summer, fall stuff. So I guess that was, so 2019, we moved here. I don't think I got in a garden the first year because it was already June when we moved in. So I guess 2020 was really my first big delve into gardening. So I'm still a baby gardener, I guess.
Yes. So, see, we're both at different points in life.
Yeah.
And it's totally awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to start somewhere, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it's been going good. It's been fun. So
yeah. So before Randy and I met, I did live in an apartment, and it was just grass all around us. But some neighbors and I had started talking and they wanted to have a garden and I wanted to have a garden. And we convinced our landlord to let us put in a garden.
Oh,
So we
that's
started
cool.
growing some basil and tomatoes and some peppers.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can grow stuff anywhere, an apartment, on your deck, in your windowsill. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
So how do you go about selecting what type of stuff you're going to grow?
We've gotten to the point where it's always really cool when you see what everybody else is growing. It's like, ooh, I want to grow that. It comes down to, will we eat it?
Yep.
We've gotten to the point, it's like, we need to stop growing things if we're not going to use it. So we grow just the basics pretty much now. What about you guys?
Yeah, I try to focus on what we're going to eat. So Luke doesn't like zucchini, doesn't like squash really, doesn't like many greens. So I don't grow any of that because especially zucchini takes up a lot of space. So I'm like, there's no point in growing it. So I try to focus on stuff that will last us, like storage type of things like carrots, cabbage, stuff that I can, like tomatoes, green beans, do a lot of onions, garlic, kind of like more staple type of stuff. Not a lot of like fun things, I guess, per se. Yeah. I do a lot of peppers. Those are kind of like my fun stuff, as different varieties of peppers.
So it's funny because you mentioned Luke doesn't like certain things. So Randy doesn't like tomatoes.
Oh, okay.
But he likes tomato sauce.
Well, that's actually the same with Luke. He won't eat a fresh tomato. Like my favorite thing is a tomato sandwich in the summer. There's like literally nothing better than that. He would never eat that, but he'll eat tomato sauce, salsa, stuff with tomatoes, but not just a tomato.
So, okay, we're gonna sidebar here. Tomato sandwich. So big, fat, juicy tomato sliced. It could be thick slices. I'm gonna go with thick slices.
Yeah.
Some mayonnaise. And typically it's either on fresh sourdough or white bread.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe a little bit of salt and pepper.
Yep. Sea salt. Then if you want to get really good, you can almost make a BLT and add some bacon on it.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's pretty good too. I can't wait till we're into that season.
Yes, that would be nice. That would be nice. So yeah, we grew up eating tomato sandwiches with my grandmother in the summer. That's where I was introduced to them. So yeah, I love them.
Yes.
So we do have, yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place right there.
So how do you kind of calculate how much you're going to grow, or how do you go about figuring out how much of each certain thing you're going to plant?
We haven't been really good about that. Last year we planted 26 tomato plants. And there are 2 of us in the house. I mean, the kids, for us, our kids are adults. So they either have their own gardens or don't garden. So it's just the 2 of us. So I haven't been really good about planning. When we do like overplant, because we have visitors to the homestead, we give a lot of stuff away.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Plus you have livestock that could always eat like extra if it's like going bad or whatever.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So I haven't been that good about that either. My goal for this year was to keep really good records, which I got this beautiful homestead, like a planner, like specifically for homesteaders that Joe Winger put out. It's awesome. I love it. Never used it. I think I wrote it. No, I'm awful. I cannot use a planner. I don't know what is wrong with me. I think I might have, like when I first got it, I was all like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and started filling it out. And that lasted like 2 weeks. And then now I'm like, it's a lost cause. So I need to get better at that. I do know, there's lots of resources for charts and stuff online. Like Melissa Norris has a whole thing on her blog or her website, with charts to put in how many people are in your family, what do you usually buy at the grocery store, and then how to kind of convert that into how many plants you should plant. So there are good resources out there for people that are better at planning.
Yeah, so I am a huge organizer person. I love my planner. I'm not always the most detailed with it, but I try to at least make notes in it, especially when we plant stuff. And like for brewing kombucha or making sourdough, it's like I like making notes about certain things. And I only just recently, like within the past 2 weeks, learned about Jill Winger's planner.
I should have brought it up to you. I wish we talked about this before because it's literally beautiful. It's the best planner. It's like, because it's so specific for your livestock, your feed, what you're selling, like it just all these things that aren't in a normal planner, you know?
I'm getting one for 2024. So she better come out with it for 2024.
I'm sure she will. I think they always sell out.
Good.
So.
Okay, as soon as I see them, it's like boom, getting it. Awesome. Yes, I love planners.
Yeah, I want to love them. I do love them, but then I don't know why I can't stick with it. I make like a list every week on like a scrap piece of paper and I keep it on my countertop. That's like the extent of my plan of my planning.
Oh, so what I like, so the planner that I currently have is it has the month. So you see the month on 2 pages side by side, and then in the back you have like a week. So each week has its own page so that you could do more detailed notes. And I love that.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll be mature enough to do it.
Oh yeah, it took me a while to get there. So
anyway, getting back to gardening.
Yes.
Do you do a lot of seed starting or do you mostly buy started plants or?
So back in the day, I still do love starting plants from seeds because to me, there's nothing more awesome than putting a seed in the ground and watching it grow. So like with our tomatoes, not tomatoes, with our pumpkins, those we direct sow seed into the ground. The rest of it, we have a really great nursery. It's not really a nursery, greenhouse, hothouses, just 2 miles up the road from us.
Oh,
and they're awesome people and I love going there, and their tomato plants are always phenomenal and they have a good selection. So I can get the San Marzanos, I can get the Romas, I can get the beefsteak, beef boys, big beef, beefy tomatoes, the big slicing tomatoes.
yeah.
So they have a great selection, and they're seasonal. So it's easier just to go get them because lately with everything else going on,
right,
it's one less thing to worry about for me.
Yeah, I do kind of a mixture. I direct sow what I can, but I don't usually buy a lot of starts. I do a lot of seed starting. Because by the time, like when you're in that depth of winter and you just want to do something with whatever, which sometimes can be a problem I have, is starting my seeds too early. Then it's still freezing out and I have these giant plants that don't even fit on the shelf anymore. But I do a lot of that. And the past 2 years, I've grown extra because you don't know what could happen. So I do always have a lot of extra and I've been selling them at the end of the driveway. So that's, sometimes they all sell, sometimes they don't. But now that I have the eggs, I feel like this year it was a little bit because people were stopping anyways. And they were like, oh, what are these plants? So
yeah, that's great that you can sell them.
Yeah, and I know I'm selling them for way cheaper than what you can get them at even like Lowe's or Home Depot, and they're organic, non-GMO plants. So
great.
Yeah.
Great. What do you use for your seed sources?
I use mostly Baker Creek, Seed Saver Exchange. Some stuff I get from Johnny Seeds, like my seed potatoes, and usually my onion sets I get from Johnny Seeds. I did find a new company called Survival Seeds. So they sell, and it's you can seed save from them. So they're the open pollinated plants, and they come in like a big pack. You can get like a farmer pack, a homesteader pack, or there's like 3 different sizes. The farmer pack has like, 150 kinds, and it just kind of gets less and less. So I think I got the medium size. But I grabbed a packet so I could show on here because they come in these nice little packages, but on the back, it has the written directions for that particular plant, how to save the seeds. Because not, especially if you're just starting, you don't know how to save the seeds. So it does have the directions for each plant that they're sending you on how to save the seeds. So then theoretically, you only need to buy them once, and then you just have your seeds every year.
That's awesome. So
yeah, I've cost savings.
The only thing I've ever seen is the directions on how to plant them, how to sow the seeds, not how to harvest.
Yeah, this one
that's cool.
Yeah, cool. So I like that. So because that could be expensive, especially if you get real excited and you are overzealous in the winter and you buy a million seeds. It can add up, because you get a little happy when you get the catalogs in the mail in the middle of the winter and you're like, ooh,
so
let's buy all the seeds.
So while we don't, necessarily still start a lot from seeds, we still buy seeds. Even Randy, he's like, look at the seed list to make sure I'm not missing anything. It's like, are we going to plant them? We really need to get better. This year has been difficult. Our garden has been really difficult for us this year. I'm not quite sure why.
Mine's struggling a little too. I think it's because of the excessive amount of rain and the lack of sunshine, because it's been not even super warm. Some days are still like high 60s, low 70s, and it's always overcast and raining. Everything has mushrooms growing in it. The weeds are loving it, but I can't really get out there in long periods of time because it's constantly raining. So hopefully the rain, I know some people are in a drought. We're in like a tsunami of rain every day. So
yeah, we've been having thunderstorms this week, so it's been interesting. We had some like massive hail. Monday it wasn't just normally we just get a little bit of hail. These were like chunks of ice coming from the sky, and it was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's not good. Because that can really damage your garden. That can like shred it up. So
yes, fortunately, we don't have a lot of stuff planted this year.
Okay.
So I can tell you, in the ground we have potatoes, and actually our potatoes we planted from last year's potatoes.
Oh, cool.
So we saved potatoes and we used them as seed potatoes. So they're our potatoes, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Potatoes, tomatoes, onions, and peppers. And then pumpkins. Randy started the pumpkin patch. And then I have a separate garden. So that's like our vegetable garden. And then I have an herb garden. And the herb garden, I'm trying to do mostly perennials, but then like I plant celery. I get celery starts from the neighbors up the hill. And the first year I grew celery, it was honestly, I never knew celery could taste like that.
Is that the celery I got from you was last year? Because I took home a bunch of it because you had a lot, it seemed like.
Yes. Well, last year I got a whole flat from them.
Oh, okay.
This year I only got 2 6-packs.
Okay. Because I have it still. It's frozen. I blanched it and cut it up and froze it, and so I still have some of that celery.
Cool. It's great for soups.
Yeah,
stews and
yeah, for making stock, whatever. Throw some of that in there. So
yes.
Yeah. So what about, do you have any tips for trying to cut costs? Because it can be expensive. I mean, it can add up depending on how you're going about it.
Right. So if you're starting seeds, that's one thing. So if you're starting seeds, you need to get the soil, the potting mix, the soil, the pots or the trays. So that can really add up. So on those types of things, like for the pots and the trays, I would suggest planning ahead and maybe buying them when they're on sale at the end of the season to plan for next year. You don't have to go with so I love Baker Creek, and I don't see the Baker Creek seeds are necessarily expensive. I think they're pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah.
But you can go to, the Dollar Tree or Dollar General and pick up seeds there. I would check and see where the seeds come from. But, Yeah, you can get seeds. You can do seed sharing, like go onto Facebook and see if people have seeds that they are. Yeah, that's a couple of my suggestions for saving money on seeds, on seed starting.
Okay, yeah. So for like the pots and stuff you were saying, I just use solo cups.
Okay.
So I just buy like a giant pack of like 100 or whatever they come at BJ's. I just poke holes in the bottom, and I use I go to the arts and crafts section to get the little sticks instead of buying the sticks that are for gardening, because they're like twice the price, probably more, but it's the same exact thing. It's a wooden stick. So, and then you can just save the cups as long as they don't crack or whatever. Like I think I bought them 2 years ago and I still have the same solo cups that I'm using. Or you can save like sour cream containers,
Yogurt,
strawberry container, all that stuff.
egg cartons.
Yeah. So you can save really all, all that trash or whatever and start your seeds in it.
Repurpose.
Yeah. So
those are great ideas.
Yeah.
You can also, so if you're not just vegetable gardening, but if you're looking for perennials, like some people have a ton of comfrey. A ton, literally a ton of comfrey. You can see if, they want to share some with you. So, and if you need more, Ginny, let me know.
Yeah, well, it's growing back because I had cut it off to just the thing and it's already coming up. I was like, I didn't even think it was going to come up until next year. I didn't think it was going to come up, but it's already, I'm like, oh, wow, that's a hardy little plant there.
They're very hardy. Yeah, that's great.
I was going to say too, you can maybe even find like plant swaps on Facebook, or if there isn't one, try to start one. Like if you have a church or a group or whatever, see if they want to do a plant swap and you can do the perennials.
Yes, you could go to a farmer's market, and if you go like farmers markets when they sell plants, sometimes if you go later in the day, they don't want to take stuff back with them. They may discount it.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of good ideas.
Are you growing anything new or exciting this year,
or? What did I plant? So last fall, technically last summer, I added some herbs to the garden, to the herb garden. So I added catnip and it came back. I added echinacea or purple coneflower, and that came back. The yarrow, I think yarrow kind of grows wild around here anyway. I did get a yarrow plant from a friend and it did not come back. But it kind of like grows all over the place.
Yeah, our yarrow is like everywhere. Everywhere. It spreads all over, which is fine, but it like you have to kind of keep it under control because it will go everywhere.
Yes.
We're growing tomatillos for the first time this year. That's my new thing that I decided to try to make salsa verde with.
Awesome. I love salsa verde.
Yeah,
Randy's not a fan.
Good.
Randy's not a fan.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think Luke likes it. I think we've had it before.
Okay. All right.
Any resources that you want to mention?
Well, gardening books. For me, I didn't actually bring, I did bring a gardening book over. The Big Book of Gardening Skills. I'm a hard paper kind of, I'd like to see it in print type of person. I know there's a lot of websites that help you do garden planning and that type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I brought over a couple books. So I really like Monty Don. I don't know if anyone listening likes Monty Don. He's a British man. I love hearing him talk. So I have his book, The Complete Gardener. He also has a television show that you can find. If you have BritBox, you can watch the show like as it's airing. Because it's obviously a British show. I think it's on the British like version of PBS, but you can find it on YouTube. It's called Gardener's World. I like watching that. I also have this one called The Humane Gardener. Nancy Lawson, nurturing a backyard habitat for wildlife. So it's kind of about how to just work with nature rather than trying to work against nature. which is, which is nice. And then I have, new, getting started garden guide for New England, because I'm obviously in New England. So that
Yes.
was helpful, just to try to pick native things that will grow better in this area. There's also Homestead and Chill on Instagram that I really enjoy. She posts a lot of tutorials. She has a blog too with very detailed instructions on how to do various gardening things, and also cooking with the stuff that you're harvesting, how to make different salves, all sorts of stuff with calendula or different medicinal plants that you could grow. So she's, I think, very a lot of knowledge there.
Yes. Another one I like is this one, The Homestead Herbal Companion by Amy Fuel. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I feel like that book looks familiar. I might have it. Or maybe I've looked at it at your house. It looks familiar to me.
It's a possibility. You can look at it again next time you come. She talks about all different types of, clearly, herbal things, and including growing them and starting them. So yes.
Cool.
Yes. The health benefits of them, that type of stuff. Yes.
You want to talk about any like garden wins or garden fails, or?
So most of my fails have to do with weeds. Because the weeds grow like rocks around here very, very well. So that's most of my fails. And then another part of that is the preserving fails. So we grew sweet corn one year and it was so good fresh off the vine. And then I tried to can it and it canned and it was brown.
Oh, I think that's from the sugar in the corn though, just changing the color of it. Did it still taste good or no?
It tasted all right. It wasn't like I wanted it to be.
Yeah. Because I canned corn too last year from like a local, we don't grow corn, it's from like a local farm. And it did, it did change like almost like a caramelly color.
Oh, ours was not that. It was gross.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, oh, what happened? And I did read it's from the sugar in the corn.
Okay.
It still tasted good. It just looked not like fresh corn.
Yeah, definitely did not look like fresh corn. Another harvest fail was potatoes. I learned the hard way how to preserve potatoes. So we'll talk more about preserving in another podcast.
Yeah, because I think we could talk a long time about preserving in general.
We have about 5 minutes left on the video, so.
Okay, I'll just go. So a couple most of my fails are things getting into the garden and eating my stuff.
Oh.
We had a porcupine last year in there. We have deer. Then this year the chickens discovered the garden. So most of my fails are animals eating the garden. We also have a lot of slugs. That's a big problem, is the slugs, and especially with all this rain, that is not helping the slug issue.
You know what likes slugs and rain?
Ducks.
Yes.
Yeah. Ducks are on my list. Hopefully next year.
Cool.
So, garden wins, I guess. So we're still eating our garlic from last year. So
that's great.
I was really happy about that. We're still eating our tomatoes from last year. So my goal was to get a year's worth of those items. So that I was able to do. So that made me pretty happy that I was able to do that. Hopefully again this year that will happen.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We finished up our potatoes from last year, besides what we saved to plant. If we hadn't saved those to plant, we would still have potatoes.
Yeah.
So I'll take that as a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're putting in a root cellar.
Oh, yes. That's awesome.
So I'm looking forward to being able to save potatoes and carrots and onions and garlic in a root cellar. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. That should be fun.
All right. Well, do we want to wrap it up where we're running out of time, or do you have any last minute things you want to shout out about gardening?
Shout out about gardening.
It's fun. You should just try it. Just plant something. Just plant a plant and just learn.
Yeah, if you live in a city or an apartment and you don't have, the ability to put like roots in the ground, get a pot, start a basil plant. Something as simple as growing your own basil. Nothing like fresh basil. Grow a tomato.
Yep, and it's so rewarding when you bring it in and you see, I grew this. This started as a seed, and I had faith that it would grow. I put it in the ground. I had faith that it would grow, and it did. And now I'm reaping the rewards, and I'm providing this nourishment for my family with this thing that I grew.
Right, and nothing is going to taste better than something that you grow by yourself.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's addicting. So
yes, so just grow it. Yes. I think that's all. Oh, our next episode is going to be our next topic is.
We're doing chickens?
We're doing chickens.
Chickens, turkeys, ducks, oh my.
Chickens, turkeys, ducks. Chickens, turkeys, ducks, oh my. Yes.
Et cetera, et cetera. Guinea hens and whatever else you have over there.
Whatever else.
So yeah. Quail, yes. I knew it was something else. I'm like, I think she has 4 things.
We don't have quail.
Oh, you don't have quail?
We do have 4 things: chickens, ducks, turkeys, and guineas.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. That'll be next week. In the meanwhile, if you could please follow us on Instagram, Figuring Out Homestead Life. We also have our personal Instagrams, Zig and Vine Homestead, Mrs. White Homestead Life. So find us on there, share with your friends. If you could also please give us a rating on whatever podcast app that you watch or listen to this on, rather. That would be great. It helps show the podcast to other people, and we would really appreciate it, and it would make us really happy.
Yes, and you can watch this on video on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned that before. Yeah, so see us in our houses and our smiling faces on YouTube on Allison's Homestead website.
Woohoo!
All righty.
I think we're good.
All right. Bye.